Hey friends, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, or I should say ho 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 friends. Happy Advent to you, because we're always hearing those jingles all throughout the stores right about now during the holiday season. So as you can tell, we're devoting this show to making spirits bright. We're trying to get into the holiday season and to really maybe kind of pick each other's brains on how we help one another during this time of giving, this season of giving. We know that Christ's birth is the greatest gift we ever could have received. And so we, as Christ in the world, being like Christ in the world, we try to go out and make spirits bright. So Jerry, the show today is devoted to making spirits bright. And how do we do that as Catholic Christians in the world? By feeding the poor, just smiling at one another, whatever, being a company to one another. What do you think, Jerry? How do you make spirits bright?
Well, I think there are so many different ways that we can, and that I have over the years. Certainly, I've volunteered in many occasions, and this may be the case for you who are listening right now. Maybe you have, as an individual, a holiday tradition that you'd like to volunteer your time, help feed the poor. A lot of our parishes have the giving trees, or they call them different things, and you can pick a little tag off, and it'll say 7-year-old boy, 9-year-old girl, and you'll buy a gift and take it back. Maybe your family goes caroling. I know that's kind of like an old-fashioned tradition. I don't know if anybody does that anymore.
I love caroling.
Yeah, or maybe you just go to a homeless shelter. Or another thing that's really, really, I think, cool is people who visit those who are in hospitals or are sick in nursing homes, and even in prison. One year I went and visited a friend on Christmas in prison. And so, it's there are a lot of ways that we can make spirits bright, and we want to hear from you, our listeners, with your takes about how you do that.
1-800-585-9396. Educate us today. Help us along, because we really, by our baptismal call, we're called to be Christ in the world, and so this is the time where we can really show up strong. So 1-800-585-9396, that's the number to dial. Or if you have a suggestion or a comment and you want to text it in because you don't have the time to get on the phone, we understand that. It's a busy season. You just text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response. Then you text your first name and your comment or question or whatever you want into the conversation to help us all. And we will add it in whenever there's time. Just keep in mind that there's a small data rate that may apply depending on your service plan. We just wanted you to know that. We were trying to be considerate so you weren't caught off guard when you were texting in. But we get a lot of texts lately, Jerry, and that's really great. That means that all of our Take Two family is really responding in a very quick way.
Yeah, we hear from you on EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook page and the EWTN YouTube channel as well. So there's really no excuse if you're not able to call in. There are still many other ways for you to share your take on this or any topic on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Again, the number is 1-800-585-9396. You could share a way that you help to make other people's spirits bright during the holidays and the Christmas season, and around this time of year that a lot of others of us haven't even thought about before. And you could really start new traditions in people's lives and families. So what is it that you do? And I know, Debbie, in this world, we're all so busy. That's the thing. I'm gonna hear from people who have to really make an intentional effort to stop and say, wait a minute, I am going to really come out of myself. I'm gonna slow down a little bit. I'm gonna make time to help brighten the spirits of somebody else who really, really needs that at this time of year, and really any time of the year.
Well, and here's the thing. We all know that the Christmas season can be a time of loneliness for a lot of people. There's families that are not together, and things are happening in people's lives, and Christmas can sometimes be really hard on people emotionally. And so I really think it's important for us to take that time, Jerry, because you never know what kind of journey somebody's on, and you could really help them along and know that you can let them know that they're supported so that they can make it, for the next month, the next day, whatever they're struggling with. Because as we know, we're all on a journey. We all have struggles, and we're all trying to get by each day the best we can. And it's important for us to be mindful of that, I think, anyway. So I try really hard to slow down, especially when I'm out in shopping or even visiting my mom where she lives in her retirement home. And I really try hard to sit and with people. And it's interesting, the stories you will hear, Jerry. You just have to ask a few questions, and oh boy, you'll get a full story of what's going on in people's lives. And it really tugs at your heart. So yeah, I agree with you. We got to be mindful and keep that time.
Yeah, and also, dear friends, as you're listening, maybe you have been on the receiving end at some point of somebody else reaching out and helping you. And I know people, I have family members, I have friends who have gone through very difficult times, say financially, being out of work, having other difficult challenges going on in their lives. And really it was the generosity of others, sometimes even anonymously. You get some help come your way in terms of maybe helping to pay your rent or your mortgage or your car payment, or a box of food will show up on the front doorsteps or something. And so maybe you have actually been the recipient of somebody else's charity and generosity. Please call and share that experience, because Debbie, I think I'm just trying to put myself, in the position of, say, someone especially who maybe, let's just say, for example, like your mother, she has you and Marty, of course, and many others, I'm sure, who visit her. But in that facility and in many other facilities, there are people who have such great memories of Christmas and family and meals and gifts and trees and the smells and all that. And then they have none of that. And so just somebody coming to visit them, it means so much. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think we have to stop and just think about this and really pray about it. And once we realize, hey, how much this could mean to somebody, that we reach out and help them, that should be the motivation to get us to take action.
Right. It's interesting you should say that, Jerry, because you just hit on something very profound. There was a great caroling group that came to my mom's assisted living retirement home, and I was there because I happened to be there. I was coming over at the same time that my mom was there listening to the Christmas carols. Well, after it was over with, all of the singers came up and talked to all the residents, and it was really nice. But as I was walking my mom back to her apartment, she goes, oh yeah, she says, okay, that's over with. Now what? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, now what? And I thought to myself, my goodness, see, they wait for these times. Now, you're absolutely right. And back in the day when she was the mom of the house, Christmas was going on all the time. There was cooking and the tree and the lights and the wrapping presents and all this commotion and all this hustle and bustle. And it seemed like it went on forever. But isn't it interesting? You're right, Jerry. It was she had this one encounter with a beautiful memory of Christmas, and she goes, now what? She was waiting. She wanted more. And it hit me very hard. And I thought, wow, you realize as you get older, there are things that you have to maybe detach from, and it can be really hard. So having somebody's presence there to be that person that could walk along with you and enjoy the journey with you and maybe reminisce or whatever, it can be really helpful for a person's spirit. So yeah, that struck me hard when you said that.
All right. Well, here we go, folks. We got calls. We're going to start with Deb in Des Moines, Iowa, right after a short pause. And we have a couple of lines open here. 800-585-9396. We are in that time of season and getting even closer to Christmas, when we can be such a gift. We can be Christ to other people. We can lift their spirits, make what might be an otherwise down, even depressed Christmas season bright for somebody. How do you do that? How do you teach your kids to do that? Share it with us.
The Spirit of Advent with Father Dominic Lay.
Advent is the season when we prepare for the coming of the Christ child at Christmas. And it's a traditional Christian practice to prepare for any great feast with a season of penance or fasting. We fast before a feast. But here's the problem. When we're preparing for Christmas in Advent, the culture around us is already celebrating. How can we live a penitential season when it seems so festive and we're being invited to all these Christmas parties, for example? Well, here's one very practical tip. Choose a small penance that you can do this Advent to get ready for Christmas. Maybe if you know I'm going to a big Christmas party this evening, you can skip breakfast this morning. Maybe you can add a few extra prayers. Maybe you can make a point of going to visit the Lord in the Blessed Sacrament in the church on the day when you're going to be doing some special celebration. Let's celebrate Christmas well by preparing well at Advent.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Christmas shopping has never been easier. The EWTN catalog is now totally digital. Order online before December 16. Use the promo code NOEL and get a free CD copy of Christmas with the Nuns. Visit EWTNRC.com today.
Post your intentions on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's website. To get there, just click on the bright yellow J&D logo at take2show.com. Jerry and Debbie personally reply to every prayer intention that's posted. Others will also offer you their prayer support. When there's something important you want prayers for, post it on the prayer wall on Jerry and Debbie's site. Visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo today.
I'm Dr. Greg Popchak with More to Life. Family traditions are such an incredible part of a happy, healthy family. Advent is a great time to come together as a family. Incorporating simple traditions like the Advent wreath and Advent calendar and the like can be little ways that your family can bring your faith home and connect with each other. Whatever you do this Advent, make time to be present to each other. Allow God's love to be incarnate in your life in the little ways you love and attend to each other.
Hi, I'm Archbishop William Laurie, the Archbishop of Baltimore.
This is Janet Benkovic, host of Women of Grace.
This is Father Dominic Legg, Morning Glory Godly Counsel. Have a blessed Advent from all of us at EWTN Radio.
Thanks for making the time to be with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about making spirits bright during this holiday season, and so we have a lot to be thankful for, and our listeners are calling in and sharing their wisdom, like Deb was first up in Des Moines, Iowa, listening to EWTN Radio on Iowa Catholic Radio. Hi, Deb. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Really, really well. I just wanted to make a comment about, I have a really big family, and it's very, very hard to plan things. And it seems like every time we plan something out, something goes wrong. And so this year, I'm thinking I need to just pray that the Lord will put somebody in my path that needs help. And hopefully when I'm out with my kids and we're doing things, you know, somebody usually ends up coming along that needs help with something. And I just, moment by moment, make that prayer to God that He will just bless us with somebody that needs the help. And it just kind of opens your eyes to the possibilities. And rather than having everything so planned, it seems like Advent season is a time when they bombard you with programs and, you know, you have to get this and that, cookies and all these things. And I just feel so overwhelmed. But when I do that, it almost puts me more at a peace. I don't even know how to describe it, but that's my comment.
Yeah, Deb, Jerry here. I'll say something first, and then we'll let Debbie comment. But I put it maybe more in the form of a question. Do you think that, and I love this approach that you take, by the way, really saying, Lord, I am open to an encounter that you would want to bring across my path. I'm wondering, do you find or do you think that maybe these are happening because you said the prayer, or maybe we just recognize them more because they're there all the time anyway, but we're just a little bit more attentive to that? What would you think about that?
Yeah, I think God, all of the time, not even just the Christmas season, He will put people in our path that we can help. That if we aren't looking for it, we're too busy. We just pass by them and you know, maybe don't even look up and smile, and maybe that's all they needed that day. But I think you're right. I really think not just because I prayed, because God's just waiting to bless us, you know, if we just ask. And I guess that's my thought on that.
Hey, Deb, can I ask you a question? I'm just curious from the words that you chose when you first shared about you come from a big family and it can be overwhelming with the holidays and stuff. And I totally agree with you. I can relate completely. Is it with the prayer? Because I love the prayer that you are praying. Is it because you're looking for something to kind of get back to the meaning of what Christmas is all about, to something meaningful, as opposed to getting caught up? What I hear from you is kind of like this idea of kind of getting back to what is really important.
Yes, definitely. In fact, we're kind of new around here, so I've gotten myself involved in quite a few things. And I said to myself and to God, next year, Lord, I'm letting you control things more, because I feel like if we overplan our lives, we don't have time for him. We're too busy with our plans, So I definitely think we need to just put our life moment by moment rather than that big plan we always have,
I couldn't agree more. I'm right with you. I'll join you in that prayer, Deb.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. You guys have a great Advent season.
Thanks,
Thank
too,
you.
Deb.
You too.
Right.
There's an open phone line. We're talking about making spirits bright. What do you do as maybe a single person, a couple, a family with kids? Maybe you're retired now and you've got some extra time and you like to volunteer. This is, of course, that time of year that brings out really the best in everyone. And maybe you'd like to share a story of how God has brought an encounter across your path, like Deb was just talking about. 1-800-585-9396. All right, Peter called in Detroit, listening to EWTN Radio on Ave Maria Radio. Welcome, Peter, to Take Two.
Well, thank you so very much.
Sure. So what's up? What do you do to help make spirits bright?
I would just like to share a very, very short experience. I came into the church through Easter Vigil in April, and I'm a fairly new Catholic, but I decided to become a helper in the Alpha sessions at our parish this fall, and a young woman was part of our group of 12, and she became ill toward the end. She actually got hurt on the job. She's a commercial cleaner, a custodian. So I called her at home and I said, we miss you. What can we do? And she said, I just have to stay home and heal. And I said, okay, just keep track of your hours and let me know how many you miss. And come see me at the end. So 4 days later, she showed up at my house, and I said, how many hours did you miss? And she showed me. So I gave her a Christmas card with a big, fat envelope full of cash to cover the hours she missed. And she just cried and cried and cried.
Wow.
And it was such a tender moment. I could only think, I'm learning about Mary and Advent and how Mary is such an important figure in the church, and I could just feel Mary's presence.
Peter, that is beautiful. That is beautiful.
I think that if we reach out, and of course we should do this all year, but especially in Advent, you're going to feel like you're a part of the church of this beautiful season, and you can feel Mary and Joseph coming through for you, and they were so present in that room, and it just set the tone for the rest of my Advent. It's all about giving, and it's not anything to do with commercial receiving. And
well, it was a very intimate encounter you had with that other soul, and that is always going to stay with you. Absolutely.
It just taught me such a very quick and deep lesson about the faith, and I have a lot more to learn, but I have a subscription to the Magnificat, and I go to Mass every Sunday, and
Beautiful.
I'm going to RCIA, so I hope that others can learn along with me how good it feels to just be a part of this.
How good it feels to be part of the family, Peter. Welcome home.
Thank you so much.
You got a great name. You know that, right, Peter?
Unfortunately, I lived up to it for about 30 years in denying the Lord and any part in my life. By some miracle, I came through an alpha session, and I was able to see. The scales fell off my eyes, and I was able to see.
Oh, bless your heart.
Well, you've got time to live up to the other part of the great name of Peter as well. But I just wanted to say, Peter, welcome home to the Catholic Church as well. And as I was listening to you, you have a depth to you that shows that you really have studied and prayed, and you really understand many things that a lot of cradle Catholics, I think, can miss. Yeah, can miss and would do well to get a better understanding of, and that is just the profound nature of the Holy Family. You were talking about Mary and Joseph and all of that. And so, Peter, you've done your homework, and
you're on fire for the Lord.
You said, yeah, like you said, it's a lifetime of learning for all of us, and we've learned from you, Peter. So, any other thoughts you wanted to add?
No, just that I am learning so much from both of you and your program, and just Catholic radio is such a great resource. You can never go away. You have to be there forever.
Pray for us, Peter.
Yes, please pray for us. And Peter, you'll get a kick out of tomorrow's show. It's about I'm Catholic because. Why are people becoming Catholic? So that might interest you, or you may even want to call back and share your story.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Peter. God bless you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too. Okay. Bye-bye. Wow, what a great call. Wow, awesome. Okay, Cherie, you are up next. You are in, am I reading that correctly? Jerry, I can't read the town. I'm sorry. Help me.
Well, it's, is it Kiln, Mississippi, Cherie?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, I couldn't. It was so small, the font. I think I'm either that or I'm getting older. Cherie, did we say Cherie?
That can't be it, Debbie.
No, you have, and it's kind of weird to look at, but we actually call it the Kill because here in South Mississippi, many years ago in the 1800s, it was the largest kiln of wood for building the United States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it actually is a kiln, K-I-L-N. It actually was an actual one. So
cool.
Very cool.
Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm really touched by your topic. It's kind of an emotional thing for me because 2 years ago, on December 23rd, 2014, my husband and I lost our main source of income, which was a major contract with the state. We are environmental educators, and it was to no fault of our own, but it was done in such a way that it was very damaging to our family, and it was very heartbreaking. And so at the same time, our house got hit with mold very badly here in the South. And so we were undergoing so many tragic things. Our family pets died. I mean, it was just really sad. And so the past 2 years have been extremely challenging. And as a woman, as a wife, and a mother, I think all mothers and wives will understand this. Christmas is particularly hard for me because we don't have we don't have any extended family that want to be with us, and we have, of course, extremely limited income. We went from about $45,000 a year income to about $15,000, and so we've been living on that for 2 years, and we are not taking. The Lord has told us not to take any government help. So we are living on the Lord, and we're trusting and putting our faith in Him. But in the past few months, I've gotten particularly depressed. And so I wanted to tell you a couple of things of what we're doing. One thing the Lord is doing, and one thing that we felt He led us to do.
Well, Cherie, forgive me if you can. I can't wait to hear those, but we are going to come up on a what we call a hard break here in just about 30 seconds. Hold. I'm sure our listeners are just can't wait to hear what you have to share. Those two things either. So forgive the interruption there, but we just didn't want to have to jump in after you got started on one of those two. But we're talking with Cherie in the Kill, Mississippi. We've got Nancy in Minnesota coming up, and an open phone line at 1-800-585-9396. We're talking today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie about making spirits bright. What do you do this time of year? Share it with us. Share it with the world. You could give somebody a brand new idea, and every time when we come out of ourselves and make someone else's spirits bright, the world is changed and possibly even eternity. So let us hear your take today on this topic.
60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The seventh commandment forbids theft, that is, unjustly taking or keeping another's property against the reasonable will of the owner. It also prohibits deliberate retention of goods lent or of objects lost. It prohibits business fraud, paying unjust wages, forcing up prices, and taking advantage of the ignorance or the hardship of another person. It prohibits the appropriation and use for private purposes of common goods. Also, work poorly done, tax evasion, forgery of checks, invoices, excessive expenses, and waste. Under the seventh commandment is also tucked our social justice teachings, because if I have two coats, one of them belongs to the poor, and I reasonably ought to give what belongs to them, because God gave all the goods of this world for all the people of this world. The seventh commandment, you shall not steal.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Check out EWTN's official YouTube channel.
Just follow the link on our homepage at EWTN.com or go to YouTube.com/EWTN.
Watch EWTN's live shows or today's homily from the Daily Mass.
Click the upload button to see our most recent clips.
You can also find all of EWTN YouTube content by clicking the playlist button.
It's all on the official EWTN YouTube channel at YouTube.com/EWTN.
Visit today.
Watch Raymond Arroyo, Father Mitch Pacwa, Mother Angelica, the Daily Mass, and EWTN Nightly News anywhere in the world for free. Cut the cord. Visit EWTNapps.com and start streaming today.
This is Al Cresta, host of Cresta in the Afternoon.
Hi, this is Dan Burke from the National Catholic Register.
This is Bishop Robert Barron of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Have a blessed Advent from all of us at EWTN Radio.
All right, Cherie, again, my sincere apologies there, but we have no control over that one. So you were about to share a couple things that had helped to make a difference in the lives of you and your family. So, Cherie, go right ahead. Thanks for waiting through the break.
No problem. You got to make money, right? I mean,
well, I don't know if there's any money being made running those spots, but...
Okay, so the first thing is we do devotions every night in our home, and we also are celebrating Advent right now. So we have an Advent wreath. We read and we pray and sing, and we have 3 in our family. And during that time, I was getting really convicted about my attitude, and so the Lord keeps saying, "Look, are you going to trust me? I mean, if I take you to the cross, are you going to trust me?" And I mean, it kind of feels like that when you can't buy necessities. I'm not, people often say, "Oh, you may not have your wants, but you have your needs." But there are times, and this is the honest truth from a person who's living it, where God will even allow you not to have the necessities sometimes, and you have to trust Him with that. And it gets really hard as a wife and mother at Christmas. So my husband and son and I, we all play music and we sing. And I started feeling very convicted to go tell our priest that we would donate our talents to the church, and not just for Christmas, but that we would do this by an act of faith. And so we went and we did that. We started about 3 weeks ago. He was really glad. He'd been asking me for a while. And so what we are making out of this Christmas is music. We can't give physical things to people right now, and I really want to. I want to give physical things to people. That's our nature. But we're giving our music, and we felt that maybe that could help people. And so I'm working, the time that I would be spending shopping or whatever, I'm listening constantly to new Catholic songs. I'm learning them. We're sitting down as a family. We're rehearsing. And then we put all of our effort into Mass. And the second thing I wanted to share is that there's a friend of ours, and I hope your listeners are listening to this, because this is a real serious help. There's a friend of ours that knows what we're going through, and they've made a decision that they're going to stand by us, but they don't want us to know who they are. We think we know who it is, but they don't want us to know who they are. So they call themselves S. Claus. And they write to us throughout the year. This isn't just a Christmas thing. It started at Christmas, and now it's been going on for 2 years. And this person will send us money every so often in the mail. It's cash dollars in the mail with usually a really hilarious letter, story made up, to cheer us up, scripture, prayers, encouraging words. And about 10 days ago, S. Claus sent us a letter and asked us what we wanted for Christmas, and he wrote this really hilarious letter. And so he said that I needed to communicate with him via Facebook. So I wrote this letter on Facebook to him, and I explained basically that what we really needed was help to get back to work. And so we have a very small mom-and-pop multimedia production company. But we needed to expand our office space, which is in our house. We needed bookcases so that we could put our equipment in the bookcases. So he sent us a $300 gift to Lowe's card. And I can't tell you what that means to us. It's not that we need food. We don't need food. We do. It's not that we don't need money. Of course, we could use money. It's not that we don't need other things. But to give us the ability to fish for ourselves is the greatest gift at this point that anybody could give us. And the second greatest gift, actually it's the first greatest gift, that would be the second. He has not stopped communicating with us. When people have forgotten us, long forgotten us, and we're over here and we're doing everything we can to help ourselves, and the Lord will not let us take government help, He writes to us. And he encourages us. He sends us scripture. He tells us what a meaningful, what our education has meant to the state where I live, and all this kind of stuff, And that person has kept us going. God has used that person. Mm-hmm. And so he doesn't realize it, but he's the only reason I have held on and gone back after my contract, because the agency we worked for wanted us back very badly, and they had to work 2 years with the legislature to even get us to be able to bid again. And tomorrow we're going to find out if we are going to win that bid.
Wow.
And so the only reason I went back after that bid was because of S. Claus. And, Jesus using this man.
Right. This person being open to having God use them. Absolutely. Well, I'm sure we can all, your Take Two family, Cherie, say a prayer of a blessing over that S clause. Because thank that person. If you happen to be listening to Take Two, that's awesome. Thank you for being open to the Spirit, because like you just said, Cherie, they helped you to keep going, and God is going to use every means to communicate with us. The other thing that just struck me really strongly deep inside of my soul is the fact that you're using music as your gift to the community. First of all, music touches deep within people more so than any tangible gift. We know that. Music is really, it speaks to the soul, it makes the soul sing, and I think that is absolutely beautiful. The one thing that kept coming to me as you were speaking, Cherie, is just like you shared and you came to it at the end of your beautiful story. And we're all going to pray. Your Take Two family is going to pray that, God willing, you get that contract. And please let us know, because we're all going to be waiting on the edges of our seats so that we can all thank God together and rejoice. But one thing that struck me so strongly, and I typed this to Jerry as you were speaking, is I just feel strongly like God was calling you and your family to free fall into the arms of His trust.
Oh, that is so, I have tears in my eyes right now, because I cannot tell you what a difficult cross this is. We've been humiliated, we've been rejected, abandoned, neglected, and every time I go through this for myself, He takes me back to the cross. Do you remember the movie The Passion?
Oh, yeah.
There is an image, and I hope your listeners can remember this if they've seen it. There's an image that sticks with me where Jesus is walking the road, and He has the cross on His back. He's very beaten up. He has one eye swollen shut. And the people are standing off on the side of the road, and they're jeering and whatever. And then you see Mary and the women, and they're kind of looking over at Him. He looks up through that one eye that He can see with, and He looks through all that pain, and He looks over at the women, and He has no anger, no bitterness, no unforgiveness. He has nothing but compassion and love on his face. And all this time through Advent, all this that I'm going through, we've been going through, I just keep saying, Lord, this is my fault. Help me. Please help me, because I want to have the right attitude. My husband keeps saying, Cherie, everybody's watching how we deal with this. This is going to predict to them who Jesus really is.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, that's really hard, because we're not the Lord, but He wants us to walk, you know, His path. And there, you know, with this situation comes a great deal of humiliation. You have to walk away from things. You have to shut down your eyes as a woman. You know, it's very difficult. So that when I see that look of his in my mind in that movie, that he had no matter what he faced, he was not angry, he was not bitter, he was not unforgiving. You know, I mean, to have a Lord like that, and He's our model.
Right.
You know, that's what He wants from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had the same thought in mind that you did, Cherie. It's kind of interesting and providential. I was thinking too, unless we are up on the cross with Jesus, we really can't be those vessels that He wants us to be. We are His body in the world. We are His hands, His feet, His eyes, His ears. But where did grace originally come, you know, to the world through? I mean, in terms of just forgiveness and mercy and healing, it came through the cross. And if we are to be channels of that as well, then it is most efficacious when we too are united with Him on the cross. And it is not easy, but it sounds, Cherie, like you and your husband and your, I believe you said a son, you have all embraced this courageously. And Debbie, I can just imagine the blessings that are going to be flowing through their family to other people, like you said, not just as they play the music at church, but also and especially in the example that they are, because people are watching. People are watching to see how our walk with Christ is, and that could make really a huge difference in them coming to believe as well.
Well, absolutely, and your walk is never fully done, Cherie, because after you maybe get through this and good things are to come in your future, there's going to be opportunities for you to be that S clause to others. So it goes on, and it's really amazing how life works. To me, it's this wonderful tapestry that comes together, and the Lord uses those who are going to be open and who are willing to run the good race. And you're doing that, and you're hanging on, and you're being courageous, like Jerry said, and we're all behind you. So your Take Two family is with you. But you got to let us know, because you can't leave us in suspense. So keep us posted. Would you do that for us, Cherie?
And if I may just leave one, thought for your listeners, is that when you see a family and they're down and out, please don't ever, I have made this mistake all my life, don't ever judge. Because you really have no idea what God's doing. You really don't. He's allowed something for some reason, but that doesn't mean they're ignorant or they're stupid. It doesn't mean they don't know how to manage money. It doesn't mean those things. It might, but a lot of the times there's more to that story, and at any time, it could be you. At any time.
That's true.
Amen to that.
Suddenly,
we agree
overnight.
with you. Yep.
Yeah, so thank
Absolutely.
you all so much for having me on your program. I hope y'all have a very blessed and Holy Spirit-filled Christmas.
Thank you.
Same
you
to
too,
you,
Cherie. And I'm reminded, Debbie, of a saying that you know well also, and I've heard it attributed to St. Ephrem the Syrian. He likes to say, everyone you meet is engaged in a battle you know nothing about. And so he says, be kind, always. And so I think Cherie's take was a very good lesson on that. We're going to go next to Nancy in Minnesota, listening to EWTN Radio on the TuneIn app. Nancy, your patience is amazing. Thanks for hanging in there, because so much great stuff from Cherie, and I know you've got a great take as well. So we're glad to have you on the program, Nancy. How are you?
I'm fine. It's good to talk to you again.
Likewise.
For the last 6 or 7 years, roughly, my family has gone to our local senior living center and roamed the halls in an old-fashioned caroling style on Christmas Eve. And we do this at their lunchtime so that everybody can join in the merriment. And it's before we even do our personal family stuff. So, and then we invite anybody who wants to join us can join us.
Okay, so Nancy, who leads the caroling? Do you lead it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do you guys dress up, or do you have a certain? Because I want to join it one. I love doing that. I've done that before.
No, we don't actually dress up, but we just.
Does the dog come too? Does the dog come? That's all.
Oh my goodness, such timing.
Yeah,
oh,
but
golly,
you know, Nancy, there are Christmas songs that the dog could take a very good part in that.
Christmas surprises all over.
Christmas surprises, yeah. But no, what is the response from the? Do you obviously you have to get permission first to go into this, or do you just impromptu do it? Okay, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, we get permission. We set it up every year, but the residents really like it. I mean, they are really just touched that they aren't forgotten on the day.
Right. Right.
You know, and I know there are many of them that can't leave the building except for, in an ambulance. So, and they don't get a lot of visitors. So that's what prompted it.
Yeah.
That we knew there were many non-ambulatory types there, and we even go through the Alzheimer's wing to sing to them.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm wondering, Nancy, I probably know the answer to this, but does some of them join in with you and sing the songs? They probably many of these are songs maybe they haven't heard or been sung, participated in singing for a long time. So, do you find them joining in with you?
Yes, some of them do. Yeah.
Wow,
it's beautiful.
Nancy, I've got tears in my eyes because I had a flashback of a memory. I think if you've listened to the show often enough, you've known that have been a youth minister for many years. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we used to do with the junior high is to take them to the senior living that was in the town of our parish. And we would take the junior high, and they would sing Christmas carols and go up and down the halls, and we would actually give out little candies and stuff to the seniors that were there. And I had a flashback as you were speaking, and it just hit my emotions. Terrible. I mean, in a good way, I guess, but it felt terrible because we're on the radio. But one of our junior high students, the young gal, I remember it vividly. We went caroling up and down the halls of the senior living. And then it came time for us to leave, and I was doing a head count to count the kids, and she was gone. She had stayed back with one of the residents, an older lady. She didn't want to leave. I literally had to drag her out of the apartment.
Oh.
She didn't want to leave. She said, "Please, can I just stay a little longer with her?" She just wanted to be with her, and the lady was telling her stories, and they were giggling and laughing. And it made me realize, just by you saying what you said, and then earlier what Cherie was saying about how people connect, and then Peter saying, having that intimate connection with another soul, that's really when we are really being Christ, and when Christ is really there, those encounters, those deep encounters. So I thank you for really doing that. That's huge. I have a funny feeling this year you're going to have a very interesting, beautiful encounter again like that. So
I certainly hope so, because I always put it on Facebook so that anybody who wants to come can come. So we're really hoping that this year we have more people join in.
That's beautiful. So how many go along and do that, Nancy? Just curious.
Well, it's usually my family and one other family. We actually don't get a very good response from other people joining us. But I do understand it, because it is the morning of Christmas Eve, and it's at 10:30 in the morning. I mean, that's right before lunch. But we're blessed because when it comes to our family gathering, my husband's family is who we celebrate with on Christmas Eve. And it's such a large family that we're in charge of the gravy. That's it. And so
Nice.
that frees up our time to go, because then 10:30, by 11:30 we are done, and 20 minutes later the gravy's finished. So it's not a really big responsibility on the home front as far as that goes. But we are truly blessed that way that we are able to do this for them.
Well, you never know, Nancy. Jerry and I might show up one year with Santa hats on and just join in on it.
And some
gravy. That would be fabulous. We would love it.
All right, Nancy. Well, have a blessed
you.
remainder of your Advent and just a beautiful Christmas, you and your family, and may the Lord bless you for all the blessings you're giving to these folks at that care facility. Thank you so much, Nancy, for calling.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Yeah, and see, Debbie, this is, by the way, folks, we got a few minutes left here. We can get another call or two, God willing, if you've got a take you'd like to share on making spirits bright this time of year. 1-800-585-9396. But as Nancy was talking, it made me realize, Debbie, one of the things that I think stops me or stops a lot of us from doing things like this is we think, well, it's just going to be this major long time commitment, or I'm going to have to keep going back. It's going to turn into this repeated thing or whatever. And if those things happen, fine, that's beautiful. But really, as Nancy explained, it's just really a short period of time out of one of their mornings. Mm-hmm. Doesn't really take away from the responsibilities that she and her family have to get things ready for that holiday meal as well. So I would just encourage our listeners, Devin, I know you would join me in just looking at maybe even dipping your toe in the pool. If it's been a while since you've done something for another this time of year, just find something that's not going to take up a lot of time and that fits with your abilities or your personal qualities or characteristics, and you're going to feel great about it.
You're absolutely right, Jerry. Absolutely. Dip your toe in the water. You're right. And see what the response is. Like, you're going to get way more than what we ever give. It always happens. Anytime you do anything for Christ, it always seems like you get way more back than what you put into it. So that's pretty huge. Did you want to share real quickly what that Mary said from Tucson? I thought it was very good.
Yeah, let me just remind our listeners first that there's a lot of ways you can listen to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and the other fine programs on EWTN Radio. One of those is what's called podcasting. It's been around for a number of years now, and what it is, it's kind of like you get fed the program via the internet. It's an easy way to you automatically receive your favorite EWTN programs on your mobile device. I have never done a lot of podcasting, so I'm not totally sure how it works, but I think you kind of point your device toward this a special URL or a web address of some kind, and then it just, as soon as a new episode is uploaded, then your phone picks that up via the internet connection and says, "Oh, I'll take that episode, thank you," and it just pulls it right down onto your phone. Yeah, your phone actually talks. Yeah, your phone says funny things.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie is having a show right now.
I'll take two. So anyway, folks, go to EWTN.com/podcasting and start podcasting our show or others today.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so Mary from Tucson, Arizona weighed in, and she said, I think it's very important to make a difference. I've had many struggles myself, and all it took was a nice gesture from someone. I try to wish anyone that makes eye contact with me a very Merry Christmas, and I give them a smile. This year, I'm also having my 7-year-old daughter go to the toy store and pick a toy to buy for a needy child for the Toys for Tots Foundation. I remember one year my husband and I had been married a year, and he had to work out of town at Christmas, and I had no one to be with at Christmas. Mary, you could have driven up to Phoenix. I would have been with you. No gifts or Christmas dinner. I worked instead and was so very sad. A coworker found out and went and bought me a gift. It made my heart so happy to be remembered. I think just letting people know that they are remembered this time of year is the best gift to give. Thank you, Mary.
Amen.
From Tucson, Arizona.
Can't put it any better than that. And I think, Debbie, that's what's come out from our callers today. And many of you who are listening who didn't get a chance to call, you understand this principle. And that is, you know how they say the best presence is your presence, really. And that's people just are craving attention and love and an ear, somebody's ear to listen to them and just to be with them. So, dear friends, just try and do that. Thinking about that going forward the rest of Advent and throughout the Christmas season. As one of our earlier callers said, she prays for God to bring those opportunities across her path. I'd encourage you to say that prayer as well. And if you're open to it, God will do it. There's no question. God, that's a prayer God will answer, Debbie. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And I think this is a great show we did today because of the Take Two family calling in and sharing the text messages and the Facebook posts. Thanks, you guys. You're awesome. You're just amazing. I think you've enlightened all of us. It's been inspiring, and it's just a great way to continue this beautiful Advent season. Another thing I just want to say too, Jerry, we have great Facebook, EWTN Catholic Radio and television Facebook pages. And really, one of them is up close to 1 million likes. The other one is close to 12,000, I think, likes or 11,000 likes. We should really be 5 times, 10 times that, because we are much stronger when we're together and we're kind of journeying all together. So I just want to put that out there again. Please, if you could give a gift to me this year, invite your friends to like EWTN Catholic Radio Facebook pages, the radio page and the television page. Let's really try to just go into 2017 as a strong, united Catholic Christian family. That would be my gift. Jerry, Jerry, you have a lot of friends. You can invite all your friends, and that would make my gift.
I think I've invited all of them already. But folks, let me tell you something. That is a great gift you can give to Debbie because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to wrap it. You don't have to ship it. Don't have to worry about Debbie returning it.
That's re-gifting it. I won't re-gift it.
So yeah, invite everyone you know to like EWTN Catholic Radio on Facebook. And you mentioned tomorrow's show, Debbie. I'm really looking forward to this. And dear friends, this is what you could be a new Catholic, you could be a cradle Catholic. If you are a Catholic Christian for whatever length of time, why? We're going to ask you tomorrow to complete the sentence, I'm Catholic because. Now, that could elicit a lot of responses. It could be, I was born and baptized a Catholic as a baby, so that's why. Or it could be, well, I discovered the truth of the Catholic Church as an adult, and I went through RCIA, and then I converted. It could be because I just love the Blessed Mother and the Rosary. Or it could be, the Eucharist. Where else could I get the Eucharist? So, Debbie, I think for every person, there is a unique reason. A lot of them are going to be similar, maybe the same, but I think everyone's got their unique reason for saying, I'm Catholic because, and filling in that sentence. So folks, get ready for that tomorrow. It's going to be a very enlightening broadcast.
Well, and think about this. We have a lot of non-Catholic listeners, and this can maybe help them to go deeper into learning about the Catholic faith. So it's going to be an important show, and I'm excited about it as well, Jerry. I tell you what. We have the greatest Take Two family, so please keep in touch with us. Go to take2show.com, hit that bright yellow J&D button, and you can get to the Jerry and Debbie prayer wall and what's going on in our lives, Jerry, and it's kind of fun to stay connected.
Yeah, it is. So thanks for your calls, your takes, your participation. We will look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Until then,
have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.